Good morning. How's everybody? All right. So, everybody sees markets going up. And so you got bearish traders getting mauled here that anticipated the turn. And it's a strategy where you see markets crack as they did. And let's just kind of pull this over a little bit here. A little more data. And so here's the break and breaks the trend, and traders begin to sell coming up into this area, anticipating the turn, especially institutions that may want to do that. And now, this job report comes out. We've got a pattern here where the markets actually were showing some, ability to hold up against. Look at this bar here that occurred. And then it just went sideways. It couldn't break down, and it comes back up in the deep retracement and it bases. And then, of course, the news comes out and could have went down. That's the unknown. But here we are. The markets are pushing up. We'll see where this ends by the end of the day. But it'd be kind of a strange pattern. If the markets can hold on to these gains, to have a bottoming tail bar. And it's not a bottoming tail bar like here where it's been correcting for a while. And then it makes the turn, kind of like a sort of a bull flag. Not really a clean kind of a bull flag, bull flag is nothing more than a strong move up and then a drift lower into the price void. So this isn't your textbook kind, especially with the deep move here, but turned into a bottoming tail bar. So bottoming tail bars that happened or after a corrective move sellers are not going to show up until it gets up here. Guys, can you hear me? Yes. I don't know why it stopped. Anyway, off. It still shows as being on, so I don't know. I'll just continue. We'll see what happens there. Maybe there was a bump in the internet. I don't know. Anyway, so in a scenario such as this, and let's just open up the 60-minute chart here a little bit, and you can see why. I mean, if you are still of a bias that you think this market's going to roll over, and it might, think about where you'd want to short it, where you'd want to anticipate at least a reversal. Those that anticipated it here are getting mauled. Now, at this point, they're either going to reduce positions, right, to reduce their exposure. They're going to hold their breath and go into hope mode that it doesn't push up and make new all-time highs and keep going. And those that aren't in positions, if they're, thinking of shorting, well, it would make a whole lot of sense to wait for it to get up here, up where the sellers are. Right? Look to the left and see where there's some congestion, and that would be it. So this would result in potentially an M top, and if that's in the cards, or maybe this was just, the news-driven Mr. Schizo market, and down it went. We got a weekly uptrend, and it's going to make new all-time highs and keep going. So we'll see. This could be just a correction bar within an uptrend. I prefer the ones that kind of just at the beginning. It's going to keep going up, and it's either that's where sell it. I guess my internet connection is getting a little wacky here. I see my chart cutting in and out. I think it's mostly maybe e-signal, where it just keeps going. So we'll see. We need to see a reaction at the resistance, Tony, and how it got there, right? Well, so let's assume that this keeps going up, right? The S&Ps will keep going up at least to this congestion area where it broke down from. That's where sellers will begin to show up, 3140-ish, give or take. We don't know, we could go to 3150. Who knows? There's no signs here that it's breaking down. The momentum is slowed down a little bit here on the 15-minute chart. If we change it to a 5, see a little more detail. We see momentum slowed down a little bit, but a red bar ignored. No big deal. So looks like it can go a bit higher. Anyway, so next week, if it keeps going, then we see what happens. M-top keeps going. That's trading. We look at multiple time frames and patterns and support and resistance, and we come to a conclusion as to what the probabilities are that what's going to happen. So we don't have anything here other than this ability to begin to hold and retrace back, right? Just remember that our basic analysis. Here's a wide range bar. Did it get more than 50%? Absolutely. Right. So did it, totally obliterate this bearish move here? Not quite yet. Right. So it could just make a lower high here and roll over. We don't know. But so basically, I guess the short explanation is there aren't great probability trades here from a swing trading perspective as to what's going to happen here yet. And intraday, because this resistance is relatively close, it doesn't make for a great opportunity either. So, but kind of comes back toward your own personal plan and how you trade. If you trade for smaller moves, which is okay, you're going down to smaller time frames, and maybe on the 5-minute or the 2-minute, you get some kind of bullish pattern and it goes further. No problem with that. As long as you have a plan on how to manage it, money management, and so on, you can do whatever you want as long as you protect your money. All right, let's keep going. And Qs, same pattern, same story here, bottoming tail. We've talked about this a few times on how so many of the patterns between these markets are similar. And so the Qs look like they have a little bit more room to go there before they hit their resistance area. So that could be the one to trade as they comes into this wide range bar. And so we talk about these concepts over and over again. For those that are new, we repeat them, but even for those that have heard them before, it's good for reinforcement. A wide range bar in a larger time frame is a bunch of smaller bars or giant bars, a void in a smaller time frame. So this is what we were talking about, right? I believe it was yesterday, was that, hey, this area here, as bearish as things look like, could potentially a turn like a lower high and drop. If it could get through this area, there's going to be nothing to stop it from going up. So when that report came out, obviously shorts cover, and they say, well, they have to get out of their positions or look for, well, where's the next reference point? So when you look to take profits on a position and you're long, you look to the left and you say, well, that's where prices based and broke down from before. That's where there was a strong pivotal turn, and that's where I'm going to anticipate sellers are going to be. When there's nothing to the left, well, what do? If you don't understand the concept of the void, you get out your trusty fib extension tool and you hope for, magic to happen, but it doesn't. You get run over. You're trading the plan and you're switching to some other thing, and that's where the trouble all starts. Anyway, same story. This looks like you can keep going higher until proven otherwise. YM. And got through the 20 MA so far. It's not on a close, but it's a little more of a laggard here, but it is starting to clear that level and it's got room to go up. So we've got the 3 major markets for different degrees all have the ability to go higher before they reach resistance. So that's bullish. Russell, bam. Wow. This thing was kind of going in the opposite directions for a while, where first it led the way up. Spiders and Qs weren't doing much. Then spiders and Qs started to go up. This tanked. And so it was kind of this inverse, slight inverse relationship. But now look at it outperforming, ripping up, but already up to the top of that resistance area. So if you're a short-term trader, this is the one to either take your money or look to take the money from relatively quickly because it's already coming up to the top of that area, or just stay away from it, pick something else. Crazy oil. Well, obviously, looking at these red bars that totally get obliterated, right? Those are several of them. This was, just getting cratered off coming through there, and it immediately comes back up. That's insanity. And look at the size of this one, and it immediately comes back up. So whatever this chart is saying about this self-corrective kind of retarded uptrend, I say that because it's like craziness that's going on here to come down like that. You got traders that are bullish but scared to death and getting out of positions, but then buyers step up again and drive it back higher. So it certainly appears that something bullish has been going on here in oil, semi-bullish, because the weekly chart is just sideways chopping stuff. So, we'll see. I guess right now is going to be the moment of truth, whether it drops back down or whether it can go sideways over here, right? Bullish price action. And if it can do that, well, maybe these terribly lagging energy sectors finally start to lead, right? So they just have been, kind of dead money, or, we've tried a couple of longs in them here and there during the year that haven't really worked out, or they look like they were ready to turn and they haven't. So maybe they do if oil can break out of that range. So we're keeping an eye on that. Bonds are down here, right? They popped up and again, choppy, sloppy, pretty much. Gold, still trying to get off its butt here, and with this inverse excuse me, relationship with equities. Equities go down and gold comes up, and it's formed this double bottom here with this kind of flag, which is kind of too long, really, because it should have just stopped right here and took off. But the strength in the markets is stopping that. So I'm not sure whether this can hold. We'll just see how this develops. Look at oil and see the big down bars that recover, and so on. Things, big wide range bars getting negated are just not what typically happens. So again, and just going back to the factory work, as I call it, well, just related to that wide range bar, these bars, opens and closes, are still in the lower part of it. So we'll see next week. So if this was to drop further, there's this support here where it's been hanging on to. And if gold is going down, it's the way things have been trading, I mean, this should be making new all-time highs. And so we'll see how it plays out. And I'll see what the Dow is here. I don't know if this updates now. It doesn't do anything pre-market. You can look at the diamonds. Kind of crazy. Gap down, gap up, bottoming tail bar here. It's up at 239-ish. So coming back up into the middle of the range there. It's got room to go up. So same things everywhere. Crazy price action. But, part of the discussion when this happened was, of course, we'll see if it does make a lower high. But I always say give the benefit of the doubt to the trend. So when you got multiple time frames, in this case going up, monthly's up, weekly's up, this breaks, it's got to prove itself to come back, and that's what it's doing. But do also realize that breakdowns that happen on the weekly time frame begin on the daily time frame, and of course on the hourly. So right now it's repairing the damage, and we'll see how this day develops. All yours, Dan.
All right, good morning. Yeah, I was just copying Tilray. Yeah, Tilray, I have this, we were watching that as a short yesterday. It's still relative weakness relative to the big market gap. So this is, that's on my short list today. I told Greg when I saw the futures ripping that this was gonna, I think, be a very difficult day to trade. Yes, there's the void that he's been talking about, but a big old move here pre-market. You know, up 3 days now. So I'm kind of just in day trade mode. It's Friday expiration, so hopefully we can find some 0 DTE trades. Zuo, 1505, no pattern. Yext is getting whacked, 1274. It's excessive. GWRE 116, bearish gap. Gapping under this green bar. So that's a 30-minute, well, there's light volume here. It's all over the place. But 30-minute low under 113. Domo 23, big gap here, but excessive into the gap. Plug. I actually was watching this as a core trade after it made this blast off, but it's in your stopped NPW. What stopped, Greg?
I couldn't hear you saying anything.
Everyone else, any problems? Yeah, yours this morning, it stopped for like 15 seconds. Yeah, maybe it's on your end, I don't know. So Plug is doing a secondary offering at 275, so that's a drag on that. Coup 461, 308 and change. So that's a bearish gap under this green, the week's low, but no price void. Bottoming pattern, EZPW. That's worth watching because look, Debbie and everyone else knows my answer to these. I need a something something. Well, it made a new low here. Then it made a higher low on volume. My 20 MA is flattening out. Now my something something is this gap breakout. So that's definitely going on my list. $33.80, bullish gap up to resistance. AOBC 990, bullish gap but extended. I can't tell what you're doing. Calder. Remember, this is when we did a 1, 2, 3 right here, and had a beautiful, we just trailed. So we stopped out under this bar. Then we had a gap reversal. And we were looking at it again to buy over the high of this green bar. Today's Friday, so Tuesday. And then it gapped over it, deep retracement. I just canceled it. Now it's gapping up again. We can watch that on a pullback. Mr. Big, 23.22. So this is a pro gap, right? What's a pro gap? One igniting a new move. This was in a defined downtrend. Now it's gapping over 1 major pivot, 2 major pivot, 3 major pivots on the daily. That's going in a watch list. It's excessive, but if it sets up over a few days, then, target maybe 28 area. Tesla got an upgrade. There's someone's, I think it was Morgan Stanley, they said, that they're barking about the $5,000 scenario. I just say, whatever. I wrote this article many years ago called blah, blah, blah. Just hit the mouse. You know, if you're bullish or bearish on something, then that's your opinion. Just do it. Why do you have to get on TV and you know, going into this politicking to support your view? Just buy it. You think it's going to 5,000? Mortgage your house. Uber, not earnings, but a report came out, it was in the journal, and they were talking about it on CNBC. Oh, it's Morgan said 500. Okay. All right. But still, there's those other people, I guess not Morgan, but they said 5,000. Remember, some say 5,000, or maybe this one woman said 30,000. Who knows? And then remember earlier in the year, I think it was January, February, the puts were priced for bankruptcy. I remember I sold a $20 put for like $1.45. It's crazy. But Uber came out and said they had, over the last 2 years, they had almost 6,000 reported sexual harassments. 34.50, this is a bearish gap on Sienna. A little bit excessive. Yeah, see, it's too excessive by this. Look at that, all started breakout failure. Wow. You know, next week we're going to be talking about retracements, and retracements are so valuable. I mean, so that was a bullish breakout, greater than 100% retracement. Now 50% retracement of this. Topping tails, 3 topping tails, bearish gap. That was a beautiful entry right there. Papa Delta getting whacked, 21 bucks. That's excessive. We'll come back to it. BHVN 5560. Remember we had an MT live on buy setups. We like this is a buy setup. It's in an uptrend. Couple, you know, pullback bars, reversal bar at the rising 20. But we said that we like retracements from Victor tops. And this is a rounded square top. So those aren't nearly as good. Crowd was up nicely at 56. Now it's back down to being a mess. Calder we looked at earlier. AOBC. We found this one scanning, I think, yesterday. Oh, no, we didn't. Never mind. 986. We have to come back to it. Zoom 60. That's a bearish gap. It's a bearish gap under this green bar. That's worth watching. And whenever, you know, these are earnings stocks, so these are good for credit spreads. High volatility, either selling them for today, expiration, or next week. 256. This is beautiful. This is a beautiful gap. All right, so I'm out of space. So I'm going to put him on a different. This looks fantastic as a put spread. McGraw, can we put you in charge of this one? We can do the 230s. It's this week and next week. It's, you know, it's going to take about at least 5 minutes or so, particularly on earnings stocks, for the spreads to settle down. Because I guarantee you at the open, you can drive a truck through it. I'm going to open it up here, the quote screen, so I have them ready. Wow, the 230s, they yesterday closed for today expiration, $7.75. Octo is a mess. Daku, 75 bucks. That's a bullish gap, but excessive. Calder, we looked at already. CMRE. This is the one we found scanning yesterday. that I liked. I said that would have been a no-brainer over Wednesday's high, but I want to keep it in here. And look at that. That's a bullish 15-minute. MPW 2132. That was a 1, 2, 3 right there. I don't know. Alex might have given me this one. That was a beautiful 1, 2, 3 yesterday. Although I like the inside bars to be red, but still a 1, 2, 3. Mondelez, that's Greg mentioned yesterday, is a bottoming pattern. It was a 1, 2, 3 when Greg mentioned it. You know, it took off already. Snips is still on my short watch list. I know it's on major support here, but you know, breakout failure, wide range bar, green bar ignored, bearish gap, bearish topping tail, price void on the weekly. Coffee shop's a mess. All right, done with my cap list. Let's look at the FANG stocks here real quick. Apple was top, and now it's a breakdown failure. That is strong. Amazon, we had a put spread yesterday and we stopped out. That just turned to garbage. Google, we took our small profits when the market was weak, and that's plowing higher. The monthly looks great on Google. Wow, what a powerhouse. Wow. And that look at that. That's making all-time highs with all the attorney generals, you know, blasting them with lawsuits. Roku's a mess. Beyond, we